The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
F.U. Sean Payton. The Jets saved their season with a win in Denver. Let's talk about it in the postgame show.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
Don't poke the bear.
This is it. I'll take everybody in this room over anybody in football. Hackett's work with the Broncos might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL.
Hey, asshat, might want to get back out there. Miami just scored on your shit team again. This is for you, douche face.
Hit it!
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
New York Jets won. They saved their season with a win over the Broncos. A lot of positives, certainly. A lot of things they got to improve on and they got to clean up. We got a lot to talk about. If you want in on the conversation, Super Chats, cut the line. Your comment is guaranteed to be read if you post a Super Chat. If you call in on the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline, the link is pinned. We will try to get to as many calls as we possibly can. The Jets win, and let's start with that because they needed to win. It doesn't matter how they won today. They needed to win. And a 31-21 win over the Broncos allows the Jets to go into the Eagles game next week with a chance to get back to 500. And even if they don't win that game, 2-4 at the bye is doable to make something of your season. At 1-5, you would essentially be cooked. That's why they needed to win today. Then you factor in the Sean Payton versus Nathaniel Hackett storyline, and this game was personal for the Jets. The Jets in-house social media team posted this. That's when you know. They posted a picture of Sean Payton being played by Kevin James in a movie when you lose to the off-season champs. It wasn't even just about Nathaniel Hackett. He called out, Sean Payton did, the Jets, saying they were trying to win the offseason, saying that because they were on Hard Knocks, they didn't care about winning, which is a bunch of nonsense considering the Jets didn't even want to do the show. But we all understood this was way more than just a football game today. And the Jets needed to go out there and they needed to win. And early on, let's be real, it felt like this was going to be one of the more painful Jet losses we've had in recent years. The way they finished the first half was deplorable. That cannot happen. You could get away with what Zach Wilson and the offense did at the end there against the Broncos. That will not work against most better teams in the league. You just can't do it. So we'll get into that, and we'll certainly talk about this defense starting slow again and just the concern level you have big picture. But they won. And you know how they won? Because they stuck to the script that will allow them to win most games as long as the quarterback doesn't throw up all over himself. Breece Hall today, welcome back. 22 carries, 177 rushing yards, and a touchdown. Anytime the ball is in his hands, you feel like you got a chance to win. You got a chance to score. And he was sensational today. Not good, sensational. Every time Breece touches the ball, he might go to the house. He had been flirting with a couple house calls this year. Last week against the Chiefs, week 1 against the Bills. Today he got it, and it was great to see. The carry allotment for Breece today is what it should be going forward. He's getting every game 15 to 20 touches. Today it was 22. Dalvin Cook only got 6 carries. And at some point, the Jets need to have an honest conversation with themselves about phasing out Dalvin Cook and making Izzy Abanikanda an active football player on game day. But that's a conversation for another day. Because Breece went out there and he looked like the Breece Hall that was on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. They can win games if Zach Wilson manages this offense, they run the ball, and this defense plays like they should in most games. And for a lot of this game, this Jet defense did play well. They have to figure out why they can't start fast. Maybe they blitz early like they did late. Maybe you don't allow teams to attack you early on. You show a completely different look. They have to do something different. This is now a trend where the defense starts slow before they settle in. Give credit to Salah and Ulbrich. They adjust. All right, we saw more linebacker blitzes today than I think the Jets have ever run in the Salah era. That's an adjustment that you saw. That was a noticeable adjustment. And if you heard Salah's postgame, he talked about how they noticed in the 2-minute offense for the Broncos on film, there's a major protection issue they have up front, and they exploited it. The way the Jets defense won the game at the end is what great defenses do. No one cares how good you are from a points per game perspective if you can't get the stops when the game is on the line. And the Jets got the stop when the game was on the line. Credit to Quincy Williams, who is not just having a Pro Bowl season. That man is having an all-pro level season. We're talking about one of the best linebackers in the league, and he's a guy Joe Douglas got off waivers after the Jaguars cut him a couple of years ago. That's one of his best moves by far. And the contract that they extended Williams on, one of the best bargains now in the league. So shout out to Quincy Williams. He certainly gets a game ball. We know Breece Hall gets a game ball. There was a lot of good today. And this defense clamped down when they had to, and that's what good defenses do. They forced turnovers. They also got lucky on a couple turnovers. I mean, you start this game, and you should be up 7-0, not 3-0, after Mims fumbles, not once but twice in this game. By the way, nice to see a Mims actually help the Jets win a game today. Marvin Mims did more than Denzel Mims ever did. Just saying. But this was a game they had to win, and there's certainly a lot of good from the standpoint that this offense had 400 yards. But they have to clean it up in the red zone. What were they, 0 for 5 in the red zone? And obviously, the debacle at the end of the first half, I mean, that's just something that we cannot forget about. That has to be cleaned up. The lack of urgency from Zach Wilson and everyone not named CJ Uzomah on that final play was baffling. And I don't want to hear it's on Hackett with the play call. There was 10 seconds when Uzomah caught that pass. There was enough time to spike and kick a field goal. I'm still livid over that. Thank God they won. Otherwise, the entire tone and tenor of this postgame show would be a lot different. But you needed to get a win. You got to win. Give credit to the offensive line up front for blocking. I thought Becton really toughed it out after getting hurt twice in this game. Joe Tippmann went down, and Salah said afterwards he was able to finish. But let's talk about the harsh reality that could be coming for the Jets tomorrow. Robert Saleh says Elijah Vera Tucker is going for an MRI. In fact, I have the video here. This was Saleh on AVT. It's not good.
AVT, that the instant rule out of calf, I mean, is that something you guys are worried about?
It's a concern for sure.
Achilles potentially?
He's going to have to get an MRI.
Nah, I mean, that wasn't a no. That's scary for AVT. If he is down, all the people who wanted to run Dwayne Brown out of town, all of a sudden you might need him. But I'll say this. Mekhi Becton stays at left tackle. Don't mess with it. And either Max Mitchell or Dwayne Brown, someone plays right tackle. I thought Mitchell, from what I saw, was not terrible when he was out there today. But we'll watch the film and we'll find out. But, I mean, this is the NFL, man. These injuries happen. You just feel for AVT, who got hurt in the same spot last year against the Broncos. So hopefully it's not a major injury and it's not something that keeps him out for the season. But that was tough to read driving back from the Jet Bar after what was a win the Jets had to have. Wasn't pretty, but a win's a win. And in the NFL, you got to win ugly. Right? I'd rather win like this than have a moral victory last week against the Chiefs. They needed to win. You're 2-3. The Eagles are not going undefeated. You make that game interesting next week. Worst case, you're 2-4 into your bye. You get healthy and you load up against the Giants, the Chargers at home, and the Raiders. That's why today was such a big win. And there was a lot in this game to like. I really thought, as I get to Zach Wilson now, I really thought Zach Wilson did more good than bad. But the bad has to be fixed. All right, the end of the half is a debacle. Don't even try and excuse it, Wilson Truthers. That can't happen. He's in year 3. That was terrible. And look, the interception he threw at the end, it was a hell of a play by Surtain. But man, you just don't want to see those plays at the end there. You know, thank God the defense stepped up and did what they needed to do. But I thought there was more good than bad from Zach today. This is more of what I expected from Zach after Rodgers went down in the first game. 19 of 26, 199 yards, no touchdowns. He did have that interception at the end, 78.8 rating. This was a very Mark Sanchez-like game from Zach Wilson. This was a very 2010 Jets type of win. Running game, defense, quarterback didn't lose you the game. Zach Wilson had his best Mark Sanchez impression today. That's how they're going to have to win. You know, it'd be great to see Zach Wilson go out there and throw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns again like he did last week. That's not who he is. That's never been who he is. The version of Zach they got today, they can win with. Because Breece is Breece. He's amazing. I mean, I cannot emphasize that enough. Breece Hall is the greatest running back this franchise has had since Curtis Martin. But once again, Jet fans, judge Zach through the lens of what he now is on this team. He's a backup. And for a backup quarterback, I think you'll take what he did today. If you look at him from the second pick in the draft perspective, he's not that guy. And I'm not going to judge him on that anymore. Those days are over. The Wilson truthers want you to think Zach's the future. He's not, and that's okay. Live in the moment. This team has a season now. And if Zach could give you 19 of 26, which is a really high completion percentage, and avoid killer mistakes, you can win. You know, I thought there were some good plays today by Zach. I thought the throw to Conklin that he made on that third down was spectacular. I thought a couple of the throws he made to Garrett Wilson in this game were spectacular. There was some good from Zach. Hopefully he can continue to build on it. You know, I thought the offensive line had some issues early in the first half, and they made some protection adjustments in the second half. But it was good to see Zach not revert back to being awful. There was some good from Zach in this game. There were moments that you could point to and say, you know what? They can win if he plays like that. That's my assessment on Zach. He was very Mark Sanchez-like today. And that's fine with this defense and this running game. And once again, the best defenses in the league force turnovers and close out games. And the Jets did that. You know, they had to win this game. There's no other way around it. And to win 31-21 and put up 400 yards of offense, that's good. Now they got to clean up the red zone. Because, 0 for 5 in the red zone is not good enough. And it's a testament to the team the Jets have. I thought one important moment in the game, you know, Xavier Gibson has the fumble. He loses the ball. Jets defense right away gets the turnover. Marvin Mims Jr. loses it. Quentin Jefferson falls on the fumble. Big moments in the game like that. This was a team win. And I'd be remiss if we didn't shout out 2 guys on this team who are the unsung heroes. Greg Zuerlein and Thomas Morstead. Special teams matters. And the Jets, when was the last time the Jets had a kicker-punter combo this good? Seriously, Zuerlein today, 5 for 5, long of 49. He had 17 of the Jets' 31 points today. I mean, the Jets scored 1 touchdown today. Salah said it after the game. Let's be real. They should have blown the Broncos out. I hate to be that guy, but I will, because this is a reality. If Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback today, the Jets win by 2 or 3 scores. Easily. So they have to clean up the red zone stuff. That's on Zach Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett to come together and figure out a way to get better there. You go 0 for 5 in the red zone against the Eagles, you're going to get cooked. You can get away with it against Sean Payton and the Broncos. But a win's a win, man. And the Jets won today, and they needed to win. And this coach needs wins, right? Because the way they came out in the first half was just not good enough, man. The penalties were not good. The fact that they were only down 13-8 at halftime was a blessing. But you got to love the way the Jets came out in the third quarter. And you got to love the way that they played offensively in the second half. Red zone stuff aside. There's more good from this game than bad. But you had to win. And you got to win. And you got to win. That means a lot for the guys in that locker room. And maybe this rallies them. Because you know it meant a lot for Nathaniel Hackett. This was Zach Wilson on winning for Hack.
Zach, how good did you get that one for Nate?
Yeah, awesome. I mean, he's an unbelievable dude. Amazing character. Sounds maybe a little selfish, but I'm glad he's here with us. You know, obviously it's been tough on him, but, you know, I'm glad he's here. And, you know, have a lot of love for him. So whether he said much this week about it or not, I know it means a lot, and it meant a lot to this team for him. So very happy for that.
Hackett also got a game ball. This was Zach talking about that.
Robert just told us that Hackett got a game ball. I'm wondering, I know you just touched on it a minute ago, but were there any cool scenes in the locker room afterwards? If you could describe, if you had any interaction with him, you know, the celebratory.
Yeah, and you could see the emotion on his face a little bit, and he's trying not to show it, but we all gave him a big hug, told him we love him, told him we're grateful to have him here, and it means a lot to us. Obviously, winning's hard in this league, so that's first and foremost, but you know, obviously how things went for him this past year. It's tough, so, it means a lot.
It was a win they had to get. And here's the thing, too, getting back to Zach Wilson's performance. There's people that say Zach's not a game manager. He can't do it. Today he showed you he can have game manager elements to his game. There have been games the Jets have won in spite of the quarterback where he's thrown for 100 yards. Zach Wilson today gave you 200 yards passing. He made some big throws on third down. He played well enough for this team to win. Interception aside, that was a great individual play by Surtain. You still would like to see maybe a better throw. And you're not in that spot. But the end of the half stuff can't happen. That's an indictment on Wilson. And the interception at the end can't happen. So these got to be cleaned up. But you'd rather clean them up coming off a win than a loss. And the Jets won today. And that's ultimately the bottom line. And this was a team that was desperate for a win. You couldn't be 1-4 going into that Eagle game next week. And the best teams in the league, the best defenses in the league, they force turnovers and they close you out. And that's what the Jets did. I mean, at one point in this game, Russell Wilson had like 96 passing yards like late in the fourth quarter. Then they had that one drive at the end that kind of skews the stats. They had one bad drive defensively. This defense, for the first time in this is the first time in 8 games the Jet defense gave up a touchdown in the second half. And the one thing the Jets defense did well in that first half where they came out slow was their red zone defense was very good. So overall, they made plays. The best defenses close you out. They're opportunistic, and they did that, and give credit. I thought we really saw the full impact of the D-line today. I know a lot was made of Carl Lawson being inactive. Is there really a path for Carl Lawson now to play if guys are healthy on this team? There isn't. Bryce Huff needs to be on the field almost every play now. He's improved his overall game where he's no longer bad against the run. Jermaine Johnson is their best, maybe all-around defensive lineman, him and JFM. The D-line ate today. They were tremendous. There really isn't a role now for Carl Lawson. You need your first-round pick, Will McDonald, playing. You need this defensive line to have their best players out there at this point. And unfortunately, Carl Lawson is just not the same guy right now. So I don't know if they could trade him, but I would expect him to be inactive going forward. Al Woods had a huge play in this game today with the safety. He needs to be out there too. He's excellent against the run. And a lot's been made about, Hardman being inactive. I got news for you. The reason why he was inactive is because Gibson has lapped him on the depth chart, and with Eccles out, you needed a gunner. So Herb Charles, who set up that fumble on the first play and recovered another fumble late in this game, he played a huge role. So I had no issue with with Hardman being inactive. If you really break it down, you understand why. It hasn't worked out. It's disappointing. I don't think anyone's at fault for Lawson. He took a pay cut to stay. I thought he had a productive season last year. He was fully healthy going into training camp, and he got hurt again with the back. He hasn't been the same player. But Al Woods needs to be active, and right now Carl Lawson is the lowest on the depth chart. Another guy I think deserves a mention is how good Quentin Jefferson has been. He's made some plays, man. I mean, this defensive line, this was probably the best overall performance that the Jets got from their D-line today, it feels like. I thought C.J. Mosley had an excellent game today, too. The linebackers were great today. Quincy was phenomenal, but he's great every game now. 3 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, 9 total tackles. I mean, he was great. He really was. And shout out to Bryce Hall for recovering that fumble. And by the way, I kind of feel like Bryce Hall played pretty well if we didn't hear his name called over and over again, huh? I mean, this was a really good performance by the New York Jets defense overall as far as closing out the game. They just have to figure out why they continuously start slow, because you can't do that against the Eagles. But at least they played with a lead in this game. It was the first time they went up 2 scores in the game, and they closed it out. That's what the good teams do. We'll open it up to your comments and questions. Super Chats will go first and cut the line. We'll take your calls as well on the Gusbuster hotline. Before we do that, though, I want to share an awesome promo opportunity so you guys know Copper John's Beard Company, the finest men's grooming company on the market. They're a sponsor to this program. I got my beard oil. I got my beard wax right here, the beard balm. I mean, you name it. Copper John's is a tremendous men's grooming company because the Jets won. If you go to copperjohnsbeard.com and use the promo code BOGOJAKE, that's buy one, get one, you could take advantage of buying any product and getting another one for free of your choice using that promo code BOGOJAKE. So take advantage of the special deal. The Jets won. I'll douse myself in Copper John's fine cologne to celebrate. It smells tremendous. Everything. Men's grooming needs. Check it out at copperjohns.com. Beard bombs, mustache wax, solid cologne, spray colognes, beard oils, carbon fiber combs, shave soaps, deodorants. I mean, everything. I kid you not. copperjohnsbeard.com. Promo code BOGOJAKE to take advantage of this special deal. Here we go. Comments, questions, super chats as well. Let's see what you guys are thinking on the hotline. First caller is Mr. Bonesy, who starts us off. What's up, Bones?
Jakey, baby, we needed this one, didn't we?
Hey, it's never easy, but it's a win nonetheless.
Yeah, it feels good, man. And I know it's our thing, but we constantly start slow and make fantastic second half adjustments. I mean, even Ulbrich, I got to give the man credit. Every single time we start off slow and then we just buckle down. It's just, I feel like it's part of how he coaches. It has to be, because every game it's a slow start. I mean, us in the Discord at halftime, we were all like, "What the hell's going on? We can't stop a screen and we can't stop the scramble."
That was the thing they clearly adjusted to in the second half, and Salah talked about it. It's like screens and the quarterback running up their ass. Like that can't happen anymore. I mean, they got to clean that up, but they have to figure out why they routinely start slow as a defense. Like what they could do differently. Like maybe it's just showing a completely different look, and that could be the key.
No, it's so true. I love seeing Bryce Huff. I love seeing Bryce Huff out there all game. I feel like the coaches are on the same page as the smarter fan base. Like, we've been preaching that we need more Bryce Huff, and he was out there most plays of the game. And then one of my favorite parts of the game was at the end where you saw Jermaine gassed and our D-line gassed, and we switch it up and McDonald comes in and then they blitz Quincy off the side. And it's just fresh legs. That shit goes such a far way. And Zach, I mean, look, he had his mistakes. He had, especially at the end of the first half, but he's throwing dimes on third down, which that's the biggest plays of the game when coming on third down. Can you make the third down plays? He's not missing that stupid screen passes and dump offs. He's hitting them in the hands on those plays. Obviously, like you said, he's a backup, but we'll take backup play right now because he's our backup. Our starter is not hurt, is injured right now. So I feel like we needed this win. We got it for Hack. Jets, Jakey, let's go.
Let's go. Look, it's easier to process Zach's performance if you view him through the lens of what he is. He's a backup quarterback. If you're holding out hope that he's the future of this team, I'm sorry, I don't see it. I've never seen it. All right, I've been out on that for a while. One good game against the Chiefs does not mean Zach's the guy. We don't need to have that conversation. If Zach can clean up the things that plagued him last year, as Bonesy alluded to, his completion percentage will be a lot higher. That's why it was 72% last week and it was 73% today. He's hitting checkdowns. He's hitting the easy stuff. He's dumping it off to Breece Hall. Wasn't it nice to see Breece Hall go out there and have 3 receptions underneath? Michael Carter, 3 receptions underneath. These guys a year ago were not getting those catches because Zach couldn't consistently hit them. So he's improved in that area. And with this defense and running game, that should be good enough to win. If you're viewing Zach Wilson through the lens of he's the second pick in the draft and he should be a great quarterback, I don't know what to tell you. If you view him through the lens of he's a backup, he was fine today. He's got to fix the end of the first half, though. That's unacceptable. He's in his third year. All right, I don't want to hear. I would love to hear a Wilson truther try and defend that. That can't happen. But there was more good than bad today from Zach. And once again, it went exactly how I felt. As far as if they run the ball and play good defense and Zach doesn't lose them the game, they should win by 2 scores. Took till the last play to get up 10, but that's what happened. How they won today was how they won a lot with Mark Sanchez, and Zach's performance today was very Sanchez-like. Steven with a super chat. Refs bleeped us again. Jets win. Heck yeah. I had a prop parlay. Breece over 70. Jets over 30. Jets win by more than 6. Best scoop and score ever. These chats are me spreading the wealth. Go Jets. Steven, I'm happy for you, man. The one bet I had today was Breece Hall over 60.5 rushing yards. Felt pretty good about that one after that long run got us there. If on 1st and goal from the 10 we run, throw one more time, I'm not going to have any hair left to pull out. Come on, Hackett. Come on, refs. Be better. Jake Wise and Simeon the backup. Go Jets. Simeon might be the backup by next week, if not after the bye. They're working him back in slowly. I think if Zach crapped his pants last week against the Chiefs, we could have seen Simeon start today and they would have expedited him. But Zach has played well enough these last 2 games to kind of stabilize some things now. Dylan with a super chat. Just looked, we had 4 field goals inside the red zone. That's 16 points left off the field. Get touchdowns, get the win. Let's go Jets. Against a better team, that would have killed them. And that doesn't include not getting any points at the end of the first half, which was a waste of a good drive by Zach Wilson in the offense. So they had to clean that up. Jetpack writes in, Jake Asman. Jetpack, thank you for your money. That's almost a Chipotle bowl. Davi says, Zach has improvements to be had, obviously, but he's really looking more confident in keeping his head. He's not bailing out of clean pockets. The throw to Conklin on, 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8 was an excellent pass. There are moments that excite you about this quarterback. There's also what happened at the end of the first half and the interception at the end. But I thought there was more good than bad from Zach. Mike says, sloppy game, Quincy's a dog. Yvonne says, was at the game, lost my voice. JETS, Jets, times 3. You guys could tell my voice is a little shot as well. This was the reaction at the Jet Bar down here in Houston right after the Jets had the scoop and score on the fumble recovery by Bryce Hall. Big win. Doesn't matter how you win, but they needed a win. And they got it done. Luca writes in, thoughts on Zach's play. I thought he was okay. Interception was defensive PI. However, Zach definitely has to work on the red zone, but he made throws he needed to make. Look, whether it's PI or not, the fact that they were 0 for 5 in the red zone, the quarterback bears responsibility on that. But they got to clean it up. Play calling could be better down there too, but ultimately your quarterback needs to make plays. At least he didn't turn it over other than the one at the end, which was, to me, a great individual play by Surtain. Also some luck involved in that, too. Chuck with a super chat. Thank you, Chuck. Hennessy says, we could beat the Eagles, but the Zebras will be tough. Look, the NFL is a wild league, man. The Eagles are not going undefeated. They're 5-0. I'm glad they won today. If you're ever going to beat them, you might as well beat them when they're undefeated because they're gonna lose a game. Like last year, they lost to the Commies. Like it happens. And the Eagles have flirted with some losses already this year. They have not been the team that dominated the regular season all the way to the Super Bowl last year. They're still excellent. You're not undefeated by accident, but it is possible to beat the Eagles. If you could hang with the Chiefs last week, you could hang with the Eagles. Now, for them to win, they can't go 0-5 in the red zone though, and they can't start slow on defense. Pappy says, Zach could be something, but he needs to learn fast. He's in his 3rd year, Pappy. It is what it is. Hopefully he can continue to build on it and get better. But I think if you're expecting Zach Wilson to ever be the 2nd pick in the draft, I just think you're going to be disappointed. Keep rolling with your calls right now. Let's go to Paul.
Who's up next? They got to make it interesting every week, don't they? My goodness, man.
Paul, you in bed right now?
I have to. I have a headache after that game. I really do. It's just the stress. I'm like flipping out. Plus, I took the Jets in both my eliminator pool. The one I'm still in with you, and I took it in my other one, which is big money, and I'm stressed. Like it killed me. It absolutely same old Jets, but I said if they don't win this game, I'm done. And I put all my money on them, and they won. That's all that matters. But I will say this, it's just crazy. Like the game's just got to be interesting. Could we ever just have a smooth transaction and a good game? But all in all, we won. That is what matters. And you look at the division right now, we're 2-3. Buffalo took a bad loss today. New England got shut out. And Miami, they sucked it up. And like this division is still wide open. We still can do this, and we're going to do it. So I'm not giving up, but I have a headache, and I got to go to bed. But I love the show, brother. Thanks. JETS, Jets.
Paul joining us from the bed there with, Paul, I think you have a headache because your echo is outrageously god-awful there. Goodness. But I appreciate the call, man. Let me say this about the Patriots. On one hand, it is delicious to see how god-awful they are. On the other hand, it is a disgrace the Jets lost to them. They suck. They should be 0-5. All right? The mystique and aura of Bill Belichick is dead. Dead. No one has stained their legacy quite like the way he has since Tom Brady left the New England Patriots. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, they're a joke. A joke. And the Jets losing to them is an embarrassment. Got to get that off my chest because it enrages me. You know what I've learned about the AFC this year? It is a conference littered with mediocrity. That's why anyone who wants to give up on the year, remember the idiot Jet fans who said, tank, tank, after Rodgers got hurt? You're a moron. Tank. The Jets have an opportunity to still compete for a wild card spot. Maybe the division. They do have a head-to-head win over the Bills already, with Zach Wilson at quarterback, mind you. This conference is very mediocre. But it means nothing if they didn't win today. And now at least we can have the conversation about competing with the Eagles. 2-4 into the bye if you lose that game, with the schedule opening up afterwards. More of your calls right now. Let's go to Ken in San Diego. What's up, Ken?
How's it going, Jake? Nice to have a win. And I want to congratulate you again for being on 98.7. I know I'm a native New Yorker, and it's amazing for me to see the success you're having from Houston, even being on that New York station. So congrats to you.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
A couple of things. First of all, maybe one of the best plays was Zach talking in the press room. His maturity. He said everything you said. He said it was on me for that missing that field goal. The line. I looked at the replay. CJ, you said it all. The line wasn't getting down fast enough, but he can't make that throw. And the fact that he articulated that was great. Another thing I wanted to say was I think you called. You said I need a guy who's going to throw 5 good passes when we need him to win. And that's what he did. Now
it was Sanchez-like. I've seen this exact game when the Jets were a solid team in 09 and 10.
Absolutely. By the way, it's hard to follow a guy who's in a bed, but that's for another time. Lastly, at some point, our man-to-man, because we have such a great rush, we get beat by these QB screens and the QB runs and the screens because we don't leave a spy. What we did in the second half, we left Adams there, and all of a sudden, they couldn't do anything. So at some point, and that's why we're so good in the red zone, because there's not enough room. It's so compacted. So at some point, I think we got to go ahead and tighten that up, because that is our one Achilles heel for all. And then lastly, AVT, boy, I hate when I hear him Salah say what he said. Some people say he walked off the field, so it can't be an Achilles. I hope it's a calf and he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. But again, congrats on your success. And you know what? Be happy. We had a win today, so I'm hopefully happy.
Hey, no doubt, Ken. You have to win games, man. Look, no win is that pretty in the NFL. There's always things you could improve on and do better. That's the league, right? The Chiefs barely hung on today against the Vikings. You win. You take the win, you move on. Like, most teams don't have, picture-perfect victories. That's rare. But there are some things that obviously need to be cleaned up against better teams than the Broncos. That being said, F Sean Payton, and you won. Sean Payton lost to the offseason champs, baby. They had to find a way to get it done today. And there are some things they definitely could clean up. The biggest thing for me, though, is the red zone. This will kill them against better teams. I keep going back to that. 0 for 5 in the red zone is just disgusting. They blow them out if they're more efficient there. And honestly, the interception by Zach aside, because that's a tough play, a little luck involved. Surtain, great individual effort. Maybe Garrett could have had a play on it. The other drives I'm referring to, that's on the quarterback. They got to clean that up, especially at the end of the first half. You forget even settling for a field goal. You gifted Denver 3 points at the end there by not scoring. You said, we're not going to take the 3. We'll make this game late. Douglas says Broncos with 3 defensive starters were tougher than given credit for. Zach grades out at a C+. Team overall grades a B. You know what? They won, Douglas. That's it. Dano writes in, Jake, you're the GOAT. What do you think about a weekly members-only video, maybe with Gunny when I don't work? How about 12 p.m. or 1 p.m.? Dano trying to give us programming. Join the Discord, Dano. We'll chat. Jets Carpetbagger said, I was happy with what we got from Zach, but didn't like his post-game interview responses. He used we too much for mistakes that were his. You know what? I'm sorry. Come on. We're really doing this? Well, come on.
Into the shadow.
Hold it, Jake. This is too stupid for the Shadow Realm. Let's send this loser to Stupid Town.
Welcome to Stupid Town. Your comments only work here when spoken from my ass.
Nitpicking his answers in the postgame when they won? Really? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of things to be critical of Zach Wilson for in the past, but his podium answers are not one of them today. Brendan says, even as a non-professional football player, I know at the end of the first half is end zone or bust and live to kick the field goal. People were killing Hackett for the play call there. That's not on the offensive coordinator. That's on the quarterback and the other guys on the offense not named Uzama for not understanding the moment. I think the Jets thought they had another timeout. I mean, they were so lollygag and lackadaisical at the end there. That can't happen. That was terrible. Brendan would like to add, besides that, Zach looked good, but when the run game is working, you can't get away from it. But there's also times where the Jets are too predictable with the run game. Being an OC is a thankless job. But I will say, on the drive at the end of the game, where they started off with a play action to Conklin, that he had the 37-yard reception. They threw on first down. I mean, that was great to see. Play action. Harley with a super chat. Few mistakes on offense, defense, and special teams. Very excited the entire team came together for the win. Looking for the info for parts unknown. Join the Patreon, Harley, and I'll get you that parts unknown link. AJ writes in, Jake, how do I call? Got some things to say. You hit the Gusbuster Umbrella hotline link. Like this guy did, who's on the line right now. Luppy, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
Luppy, what's up, man?
Slow starts, Jake. Everything happens with the slow starts. We have the defense, and always have to, it seems like they don't game plan very well. It's like they have to wait till the game actually happens before they actually do something about it.
They don't adjust as quickly as you'd like to see them. Why wait till halftime to adjust? Adjust after the first couple series of the game.
Why not game plan better? Why not know your opponent?
Or just show a completely different look. Like they start in their quarters or occasional man defense, and then they don't switch until halftime to make the adjustment. Start switching earlier. Or line up and do something completely different next week against the Eagles and throw them off and see if that works.
That's game planning, Jake. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They don't throw anything at you right off the bat. And it's like we're always behind in the game planning. That needs to change. That's coaching. I mean,
it was nice to see them score in the first quarter today. That's also something they haven't done all year.
And then you got Garrett Wilson not getting a catch until when? I mean, seriously? That guy's got to be in the game plan. That's my point. Is they need to just adjust differently right off the bat. It shows in the score. We had tonight, yay, we were ahead, the first time ever.
I mean, look, I'm with you, Luppy. They have to figure out why they start as slow as they do. And they have to. It's a problem. You can get away with it against the Broncos, who stink. Against the Eagles next week, you won't. Yeah, they were able to come back against the Chiefs, which was unbelievable, but that's not sustainable, right? Zach having his first ever great game as an NFL pro, you can't bank on that week over week. The Zach we saw today is more likely than not going to be the guy that we see most weeks. There's some version of what we saw today. Not the Chiefs guy, and God willing, never the Patriots guy again. I'll take Aaron Rodgers on one leg week 18 if that game matters somehow for the Jets. By the way, Rodgers tweeted right after the game, W #Hackett, so you know he's pumped. Craig writes in with a super chat, up at 4:30 in the morning to endure hours of agony, but at least for the win. Lots of positivity we can build on. Suck it, Peyton, and everybody hit the like button. Amen, Craig. Craig's out in Australia waking up early to watch the Jets. The Power writes in, no one's talking about the face mask on Zach at the beginning of the game. Can't believe the refs whiffed on that. Yeah, that was the play where AVT got beat on the right side. And, of course, no call once again. I mean, it's unbelievable how the Jets never get a roughing call called against them. Or called for them. Because who got the roughing call today in the game that was total BS? I mean, it's every week the roughing the passer nonsense. And it's always against the Jets. Jorge says, I just have to say this team shows moments of greatness and moments of just ridiculousness. I'm happy we won, If Zach just stops being dumb at times, ending of quarter 2, we should be fine. Jets ×3. Yeah, look. What happened at the end of the first half can never happen again. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. We know that. They were able to win in spite of it, which was shocking. Bilal says Quincy elite in coverage, run defense, and blitzing. He's an all-pro. Forget the Pro Bowl for Quincy Williams. This guy has played like one of the best linebackers in the league. It's been stunning. And I thought Quinnen had a good game today, too. I mean, how cool is that? Both guys are going to be in the Pro Bowl. Knock on wood, they stay healthy together this year. Ryan says, are you concerned with AVT's injury? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm fearing the worst. Dark Knight says, we must be the most penalized team in the NFL. They're actually not, but today was rough. It was better in the second half, but it has to be cleaned up. Luppy, who just called in, why the slow starts on the D? Yeah, look, goes back to what we were saying. I have to clean that up. I don't know what the answer is, but there's a trend here. Paul says, I had Brees in fantasy. I knew he'd break one. I mean, this made the most sense for him to break one, right? You're playing a Broncos defense that was dead last in rushing. Brees had flirted with those long touchdown runs in these first couple games, and he finally broke one free. Let's go to Doug, who's up next on the Gusbuster Hotline. What's up, Doug?
I think you and I both have a better chance of winning the lottery than the Jets getting a roughing the passer call.
It's insane, but you're probably right.
It's it's just insane how it never happens. And quick on Quincy Williams, before he made the second sack, that first sack, he absolutely just lit up Russell Wilson.
He is playing at an all-pro level.
It's incredible to see, and I know Joe Douglas gets a lot of flack for, deservedly so, for some stuff, but he also should get more credit than he does, because that's one of the best moves he's made. I think, if not the best move he's made outside of the draft from last year.
Yeah, I would say his best individual personnel move, you could argue, is maybe Quincy Williams on waivers, DJ Reed in free agency signing. If you don't count the 2022 draft class,
and then also I think you got to try and trade Carl Lawson at this point. Like, maybe see if you can get a pick for him, because I think it sucks how it worked out. He's just not healthy at this point, and you can see there's better younger guys, and Bryce Huff is playing too well to keep him off the field. And then you also have Will McDonald on that sack. He had a great spin move that allowed Quincy Williams to get on the edge and get down to Russell Wilson. So I think you just got to try and trade Carl Lawson and see if you can get anything for him.
I don't know what you could really get, though, Doug. That'd be the thing. Honestly, I'd keep Carl Lawson for another couple of weeks and hope there's not an injury. And then maybe you look to trade him if you're healthy at that point. But it's unfortunate, obviously you're wasting money with Carl not playing, but that's the best case for this team right now. The money's already spent. It is what it is. He took a pay cut to come back. They guaranteed $8 of his $9 million. That was the agreement. Didn't work. He got hurt. He was healthy all summer. Then he had the back injury. He missed 3 weeks, and he hasn't been right since he's played. And who are you playing over, or who is Carl playing over right now? Huff? Jermaine? JFM? You need McDonald to play as your first-round pick. There's just no spot for Lawson. It's unfortunate. He seems like a good dude, but it is what it is. Lee says, shout out to Morstead. Amen. I talked about this earlier, Lee. Most underrated aspect of the 2023 Jets so far, they're elite special teams. They won a game week 1 because of Gibson. Zerline's been money all year. Morstead has been unbelievable. Other than going from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, the place where the Jets upgraded the most this offseason was that punter going from Braden Mann, who I think is on the Eagles, right? I think the Jets see Braden Mann this week. Oh, would I love nothing more than a Braden Mann shank at MetLife. We saw a Mims help the Jets today. How about a man helps the Jets next week? Wouldn't that be nice? Douglas writes in, I think with maturity and experience, Zach's floor will be Kirk Cousins with some moments of elite play mixed with some WTF moments. I mean, if Zach Wilson is Kirk Cousins, where do I sign? I don't see it. I hope it happens. Brendan with the super chat, he cuts the line. I'm not a professional football player, obviously, but even I know at the end of the first half, or end zone or bust, live to kick the field goal. Zach looked good. Would love to see a touchdown from him. Yeah, me too, but this was more along the lines of a Zach Wilson type of game. What was good about what Zach did today, the completion percentage being 73 is excellent. Got the ball out quick. He did get it to his playmakers. He didn't bail on clean pockets. He stepped up and made a couple key throws on third down. I think, once again, if you judge Zach Wilson through the lens of what his role was on this team, you should be satisfied with what you saw today. If you're holding out hope that he's the future, he's going to play like the number 2 pick in the draft, I think last week was an outlier. I think today is maybe more of what he actually is, which, considering he was not a playable quarterback last year by the end, that's pretty significant improvement for Zach. Right? Let's not forget the lowest of low it was for Zach against New England last year in the Jaguar game. And yes, the New England game happened this year. We all understand that. But he played well enough to win week 1. For 3 quarters against the Cowboys, he wasn't terrible. He was great against Kansas City for a lot of the game. And today he was fine. Not great. He was definitely not bad. He was fine. And with Breece Hall in this running game and with this defense, that is a formula they can win with. Zach Wilson was Mark Sanchez today. You can win with that. Neil writes in, the only good coaching job was Ulbrich blitzing instead of letting Denver drive down the field to score 3 or, God forbid, 7. Defense in the second half again shut a team down. Defense wins championship. Bring on Philly. Neil, amen, man. Neil was blowing up my phone during the game today, stressing out. The adjustment they made at the end, blitzing Quincy, was fantastic. Can't wait to see people break down that film and see what they did. Joshua says, play calling is suspect. Jets are unpredictable. There were some times today I thought the play calling left a lot to be desired. I also thought Hackett, at the very end, the last drive, did a good job playing to try and win and not lose. They just obviously need to figure out the red zone. Let's get back to your calls now, shall we? This guy called the radio show today on ESPN New York. The King is on the hotline. Lowski, what's going on, man?
Jake, my brother, man. What a roller coaster of a game.
Aren't they all at this point? The Jets will never have a win where we get to sit back, relax, and smile. It's going to be stressful every game this year. I'm ready for it at this point.
That's just football for you, baby. That's just football for you. But let me say this, man. Hey, don't tell me we can't run that damn ball, man. Don't tell me we can't unleash Breece the Beast, okay? My voice is shot just like yours, Jake. But trust me, the bar was just as hype as yours was, man. Hey, man, let me say this, man. Everybody in the facility needs to have a ball in their damn hands walking around, man. It was too many fumbles and loose balls on the ground, okay? Xavier Gibson, you got to get it together, rookie, man. You got to get it together, okay? Hey, it's too many drops. Let's get it together. Let's clean up because Philly is coming home. They coming to Jet Life, baby, and we going to be prepared. Jets, Jets. We on the Philly, baby. Let's go, Jay.
Let's go, King. Look, you got to win ugly sometimes. And once again, when the Jets needed to get the stop, they did defensively, and that's what great teams do. That's what great defenses do. You want to be the 85 Bears, which, by the way, was completely taken out of context, and I don't subscribe to it, but the 85 Bears, the 2013 Legion of Boom Seahawks, they get the stop at the end of the game. And the Jets did it in emphatic fashion with the turnover and scoring points on it. That was great to see because they didn't do that at the end of last year. The defense defended them. They played well, and they were behind the 8 ball a lot with no offense. But they didn't force what they had, 2 turnovers total the last 7 games of the year last season. Today, 3 turnovers, man. Obviously, 1 was special teams, so 2 on defense. That's what you got to do. Last year falling on fumbles was a problem. Yes, Marvin Mims on the end around. What the heck are you doing? By the way, what is Sean Payton doing there? Sauce Gardner goes out for a couple plays, gets hurt. The Jets are down DJ Reed. How do you not throw at Craig James, who's in for the Jets, right away? You're calling an end around with Marvin Mims? You're showing trickery there? That's a shit play call by Sean Payton. Let's call it for what it is. That was terrible, and I'm glad he did it. But last year, falling on a fumble was a problem for the Jets. Quentin Jefferson, thank you. Things like that is what good defenses do. They fall on fumbles. When there's opportunities to get a turnover, they do it. Frankie V is up next on the hotline. What's up, Frankie?
Hey, what's up, Jake?
How we doing?
Doing great. Hey, I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I think the offense was a little bit better. Definitely taking some baby steps. I know we're settling for field goals, but at least we're in the position to kick a field goal. We could have used some of those field goals against the Patriots. Another thing I noticed, I think we're using a lot more pre-snap motion, like in the games against like Cowboys, and where we're not like doing anything on offense. There's no window dressing to put any stress on the defense. So I think that's part of why like our run game is doing better.
There was
Brees-
one play
Brees
with
finally
Garrett. You're right, Frank. There was one play with Garrett today where they used motion and it kind of freed him up on a third down, and it was like a little rub route where Lazard
Yeah.
then blocked off the defender on the outside, and it was easy pitch and
Mhm.
catch, Wilson to Wilson.
And I think Brees finally got his top end speed back. Like he finally broke one. I knew he was due for one. Like he keeps hitting those 40-yard where he like kind of gasses out at the end, gets tackled. Today he finally broke one. So definitely glad to see that.
Yeah, well said, Frankie. Brees was due. And against a defense that was allowing 176 rushing yards per game, this was the defense to do it against. I mean, the Broncos were the worst second-level tackling team in the league. League worst 23% missed tackles by their linebackers, corners, and safeties. And honestly, on that Brees run, he didn't even get touched. He was just so fast. Big fella says Zach didn't play bad today. Even that interception was not a bad pass. Sertan made a great play. Yeah, look, the interception at the end was unfortunate. I don't put it all on Zach Wilson. It can't happen, but, I'll live with him throwing to Garrett Wilson with the game on the line. If you're throwing to Nick Baldwin, we got problems. At least he went to his number one receiver. Let's not forget, these two guys could not get on the same page last year. It was agonizing. At least Zach Wilson has gone out of his way to look for 17 more times than not. I mean, that's just good quarterback play. I mean, Garrett today, 3 catches, 54 yards, but he had that huge 32-yard one in a critical spot in this game. Lex says, Brees was unleashed, which was greatly needed. I'm working a 12-hour shift, but now it's definitely worth it. Pats got shut out 34-0. Laughing my ass off. Amen. They say when the Jets win in Denver and stick it to Sean Payton and the Patriots lose 34-0 and have been outscored 72-3 over their last 2 games, they say that's as good as it gets in life. And I would say the people who said that are 100% right. God, are the New England Patriots terrible. They're not bad. They are so awful. It is criminal the Jets lost to them. Jets would be 3-2 right now if they just beat them 2 weeks ago, man. Damn. James says, defense stepped up. Zach played a B- game, 2 big mistakes. Wish they took a shot, passing on first and second down. If they clean up those mistakes, Jets have a shot next week. A win's a win. Hey, last point, James, spot on. Win's a win. Should be happier today about winning than the moral victory nonsense last week, huh? To your point, if Zach can clean up the end of the half stuff and they just score 1 touchdown in the red zone rather than 0 for 5 today, they're in position where you feel like, they probably win comfortably in the fourth quarter. Dark Knight Steve says it best. Season's still alive. Rejoice and enjoy. All right, let's keep rolling with your calls here. Let's go to David, who's up next. David, what do you got?
What's up, Jake? This Sunday is crazy. I'm going to get a heart attack. These refs are the worst. How you missed that face mask? Of course, it's Zach. No problem. Missing it as usual. But the defense came through. Everybody came through. Great win. Let's go.
David, amen, man. Team win. You needed help from special teams. You needed your defense late. And you needed your offense. You needed the passing attack at times. You needed the running attack. This was a total team victory. It was great to see. V-Man's up next on our show. What's up, V-Man?
Hey, Dick, what's up? How you doing, man? It does feel good. They say when the Jets win, the Patriots get humiliated, an angel gets its wings.
I have heard that, V-Man. I think you're on.
But man, it is great. It does suck that we lost them, but I'm telling you, going next week, end of the year, there's no way we can lose them, but that's for later. Man, I do think probably some of the sloppiness comes from them just not being acclimated to the altitude. That's probably going to play a factor, but they do need to clean it up. But like I said, you're happy with the win. You take a sloppy win over a well-played loss any day. I'm glad that Becton was able to shrug off the injuries. I'm also hoping, what Douglas said. What Robert Saleh said about Joe Tippmann, that he was fine. He would have come back to play if
Yeah, Tippmann's fine. The concern is obviously with AVT right now. It doesn't sound good.
that is the concern. So, like I said, man, you got to give it up to Joe Douglas when it comes to his offensive lineman drafting, because you know what? What was Max Mitchell came in and filled in the gap, right?
Yeah, he played right tackle. Billy Turner had to play some snaps at left tackle today because Becton missed a couple plays.
I know. So you got to give credit to Douglas there, because like I said, I think filling in the gap. I'd rather have AVT out there, but I'm okay with Max Mitchell. I think he's solid.
Look, I good call, me, man. I thought Max Mitchell actually played pretty well last year, given the circumstances before the blood clots. If he's gonna have to play, let's hope they got a plan for him. We'll see. Obviously, you hope the AVT injury is not a season ender. They said it's a calf. He's getting an MRI. There's different levels to a calf injury or Achilles. It doesn't necessarily mean it's season ending, but when the head coach says he's concerned, Robert Saleh is usually Mr. Optimist. Oh, DJ Reed's going to play this week. Dwayne Brown's fine. When it comes to injuries, I don't really believe this coach. I think it's a lot of gamesmanship. So when he says after the game that he's concerned, I think that means something, because it's the opposite of what he normally says when it comes to injuries. We got a lot more calls still to take. We got plenty of super chats still to read. Hit the like button if you're watching live right now. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We talk Jets each and every day. And Jet fans, we are 1 month away from what will be an absolutely epic weekend in Las Vegas. Join me if you're going to Jets Raiders by staying at Circa Resort and Casino.
Jake Asman here. I got some great news to share with all of you. You took our exclusive promo code for a discounted stay at the legendary Circa Resort and Casino for Jets Raiders weekend on November 12th, and you turned it into the most successful promo code Circa has ever seen. But guess what? We're rolling out the red carpet with a lineup of extra exclusive events. Get ready for more than just an open bar party. Picture this, a reserved haven at the iconic Stadium Swim, where we could soak up the sun and watch college football all together. And that's not all. We're kicking off the game day action with a reserved spot for my listeners at the world's largest indoor sportsbook to catch the 10 a.m. NFL games the Sunday of Jets Raiders. And then off to the stadium all together. You do not want to miss this incredible weekend. Use my promo code JAKE15. Book your stay today at circalasvegas.com. I can't wait to see all of you at Circa Resort and Casino.
Got a couple Patreon shout-outs I want to read. Adam K., Brian Andrus, and Harley Kelly, welcome to the Patreon squad. Welcome to Garrett, who signed up for Patreon at 2:04 Central Time today. You guys are awesome. Appreciate everyone for the support. We're nearing 300 Patreon subs. If you want to join our Discord chat and mix it up with us, talking Jets all the time away from YouTube, including on game day, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. When you sign up, you get the link to the Discord sent to you. You also get the show as a podcast. You can link it to your Spotify or your Apple account, so you can take us on the go if you prefer to consume the show that way as well. Here we go. More of your calls right now. Charles is up next on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. What do you got for us, Charles?
Hey, Jake. How are you, buddy?
What's up, man? Look, the Jets won, so I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing great myself. Today was my parents' 34th wedding anniversary, so I think
they Jet fans, Charles?
More special.
Are your parents Jet fans?
My father's a Jets fan. My mother doesn't really care about sports.
All right. Well, we'll take 50%.
I thought the run game really was the highlight of this offense. Passing was efficient. It wasn't great. They did give up 4 sacks, which really hurt. But the run, we racked up 234 rushing yards today. That was easily our best rushing performance since week 1 versus the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Charles, look, they won the game because they ran the ball. They didn't win because, Zach Wilson was lighting it up, throwing the ball like he had to last week. They won because Breece Hall went out there and he carried you. He gave you 177 yards. And that 72-yard score completely changed the entire tenor of this game. Let's call it for what it is. For the Jets to come out the way they did in the third quarter, after the way they ended the first half, that was the game there. I'll say this. give credit to Robert Saleh and the coaching staff for the way they started the second half. After the way the first half ended, the Jets of old with Todd Bowles or Adam Gase, they unravel from that point on. Instead, the defense starts the second half with a 3-and-out. Denver gained 4 yards, punts it right back. First play of the drive, handoff to Breece Hall, 72 yards, house call. That's what you got to do. Good teams overcome their own mistakes. The Jets were able to do that today. Now, you played the Broncos. You do that crap against Philly next week, you're cooked. But they had to win, period. And they won. I'm excited about our next call. I never thought I would see the day he would actually be wearing the Aaron Rodgers jersey. But our guy Bernard, Packer fan who'd always call in, I said, Bernard, I'm going to send you an Aaron Rodgers Jets jersey on my dime, but you got to wear it every time you call in. And look who's rocking the Rodgers jersey. What's up, Bernard?
Hey, Jake.
How's it fit, Bernard? Do you feel the magic in it?
It feels great, man. It feels great. Just the perfect size that I wanted. You know what I mean? And thank you, man. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for being a great listener. I'm glad you got the jersey.
And the Sean Payton still thinks is the worst coaching job of all time. You know what I mean? Taking the L 1-4, got the Chiefs on a short week this week on the road. You know what I mean? So. Hey, Sean Payton, good luck. I got a shovel so I can dig up you a great yard tonight.
Yeah,
need it.
You're right, Bernard. Hold on, you weren't done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. If somehow, do you still think it's possible if somehow Jets stay afloat, that Rodgers can still come back like the end of the season?
Do I think it's possible? Well, to quote Aaron Rodgers, anything is possible. I don't know. I mean, I'm not ruling it out, man. Who knows? Who knows? I'll tell you what, he comes back, Bernard. You'll be the first call on the first post-game show that night if the Jets win and Rodgers plays quarterback. But I'm glad you got the jersey. Love that. For those who watched the show for a while, that jersey exchange took a long time to happen, so I'm glad we got that done. Let's see. RB says, great win, but the Jets look very poorly coached. I would disagree with that. There are some things they got to clean up. There are some things that this coaching staff, I think, deserves credit for, and one of them being exactly how they started the second half, how they closed out this game. You know, the fact that they were able to go out there and they did make adjustments down the stretch. Linebacker blitzes. We haven't seen that all year. So there's some things they got to clean up. It was not a perfect win. Most of them aren't in the NFL. But tell you what, you rather learn from a win than learn from a loss. Douglas writes in, F it, we're going to be called on the BS ticky-tack roughing the passer calls. Take them out of the game. Just brutal. The Jets never get any calls. It's unreal. Storylin, way too much running today. Let Zach loose. Way too predictable. All right, I'm not. Way too much running today. Did you see what they did on offense today, running the ball? Now they're running too much. I mean, please, see you later.
Into the shadow realm you go.
Did you say Zach Wilson is special? I think he had a special night, but I don't think he's special. You got to look at this dude and say, oh, he is garbage.
Bomb.
Way too much running today. What a joke. They had 400 yards of offense today. Way too much running. If they didn't run the ball, they were not winning today. Ridiculously dumb comment, man. Oh, my God. Tyler writes in with a super chat. Nice to see Zach stack 2 decent games together. Shows growth. Red zone offense definitely held us back. Falling in love with the run. Yeah, thank you. Apparently the Jets ran too much today. Was screaming at the TV with back-to-back runs on goal to go. A fair criticism would be of some of the play calling in the red zone. I would agree with that. But they didn't run too much today. These are the same people who are complaining Breece Hall only got 6 touches in a game a few weeks ago. Anytime the ball is in the hands of Breece Hall, he has a chance to score. The only other player on the Jets I could say that about is probably Garrett Wilson. Ryan writes in, what about the play from Charles, the undrafted free agent? I talked about this earlier, Ryan. The Herb Charles addition today, because Eckel was out and they wanted the gunner on special teams, made a huge, huge difference in this game. One, he recovered a fumble from Gibson, which was huge. And two, he forced a fumble on the opening drive that led to 3 points for the Jets. Herb Charles, underrated aspect of today's win. Had him down in my notes. Hennessy says we're the 85 Bears in the second half. Yeah, can they play a little better in the first half on defense? Man. Golden Robert says we need to play new Jet football all 4 quarters in all 3 phases. Look, you win ugly in the NFL sometimes. There's no shame in that. But there is an obvious trend of them starting slow in these games, and that has to be rectified. Mr. Downtown says Namath needs to chill. O-line played okay with AVT out. I haven't seen what Joe said, so I'm not going to comment on it. Felix writes in, Zach played okay today. Defense made up for some mistakes. Next week we need a better game out of Zach and our defense. Let's go Jets. Once again, public service announcement. It's Zach, Z-A-C-H. Now, you spelt it right in the beginning of the Super Chat, but then by the end, you used the K. So I'm confused by that. But to your point, Zach was not great today, but he was not bad. You can win with this level of Zach Wilson. Once again, I felt like I watched Mark Sanchez in this game today. This felt like Jets versus Broncos 2010. LaDainian Tomlinson went nuts that game. Defense made plenty of plays, and they won in Denver. It's hard to win in Denver. It was good to see Zach have a high completion percentage, make some critical throws on third down. But the end of the first half debacle is on him. He's in his 3rd year. That can't happen. That would never happen with any veteran quarterback in this league. It can't. That's unacceptable. And the red zone efficiency, some of it you want to blame play calling, fine. Quarterbacks, your job is to get in the end zone. They didn't do it today. They got in the end zone because Breece Hall busted a 72-yard run. But they won. So I'm going to focus on the positives today because there'll be plenty of time to talk about a lot of the negatives and things they got to clean up before this Eagles game next week. Funky Webb says, Frankie V-Dub, thanks for the time, Jake. Okay, so Funky Webbs is Frankie. I'm glad our defense is finally making plays. Forcing turnovers is what makes us truly elite. Hey, you give up points, you could live with that if your defense forces turnovers. And when the game was on the line, they made the play of all plays. Quincy Williams made the play of all plays. That guy is a stud. Otto Neal with a super sticker. Thank you, sir. Dark Knight Steve, shout out to Joe Q and Jen Q who are watching the show and who are big Jake Asman Show fans. Go Jets. Joe Q and Jen Q, shout out to you. Tyler writes in, only criticism I have is the red zone play calling. We have to mix in some play action when the run game's cooking like today. I agree. Brought that up earlier. Completely agree. Keep rolling with the calls. We got a lot of you on hold. We'll get to all of you. Here we go. Darren's up next on the show. What's up, Darren?
Hey, Jake, man. There's a whole lot of people bitching about this and bitching about that. We won.
I know. Enjoy it.
All celebrate like crazy, man. I thought there were some bad calls. I thought there were some good calls. We went out there. We kicked ass. It was an amazing game. I thought we were going to screw it at the end. But guess what? When you actually take it into your own hands, then you don't have to worry about the refs' calls, man. Came out. Our defense kicked some damn ass. It was awesome, man. This is a big win. We win next week. We're taking it. We are going to town.
Darren, we'll let you get back to your alcoholic beverage there. I'm thrilled the Jets won. I really am. Tim from Fishland joins us now. What's up, Tim?
How you doing, Jake? Great team win. This team makes me drink a lot, especially a lot of beer while I'm watching them.
Cheers to you. Shout out to my guy, Fireman Ed, for the new shipment here.
With that, I'm a Heineken man. But, one criticism, like you said, in the second quarter, I watched them run, and then running the ball down the throat. Okay, and it's at the 10-yard line. Play action, hard play action, or play action rollout.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if it's not there, throw it away.
I agree.
Okay?
I think that's a fair
very,
criticism.
very simple. Like you're getting too one-dimensional at that point, and people are just going to go 9 in the box. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many times you can run the ball like that. Okay. Second of all, your Texans screwed me today. I had a 3-game parlay.
They're not my team, man. I just used to cover
Or
them.
the team you covered. The
Yeah.
team you covered. I had a 3-game parlay with Houston, Indy, and the Jets.
See, I can't have another team. My team's the Jets, and they always screw me. So I don't have room for another team.
And then I was screaming at the TV for Brees to get another touchdown, because if he had got another touchdown, I had a parlay bet on him having 2 touchdowns, 100+ yards, and the away team scoring over 20 points.
Tim, you should have just listened to me. Brees Hall over 60.5 rushing yards. Put your mortgage on that, like I said, and you would have won.
Yeah, but I like to bet small and win big.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I ain't rich. You know what I mean? But like, it is what it is. The Jets got to win. I'm happy. But let's see what happens next week. They got a lot of things to tighten up. And the red zone offense is the biggest thing with me right now.
Well, it's been a trend throughout the season, Tim. You're 100% right. They have to clean that up, and if they clean that up, I mean, they have an offense that could function. Today 1 touchdown, like that. That's not going to beat the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy this win, but understand if you want to compete with the best teams in the league, you'll see one of them next week. You need to score more than 1 offensive touchdown. Sure, the defensive touchdown is great, and Greg Zuerlein hitting 5 field goals today? Awesome. Love that. Love you, Greg. Maybe the best 2 players on the team, you could argue, are Zuerlein and Morstead. They're awesome. But you got to score more than 1 offensive touchdown. And that's on the quarterback. People don't want to put that on Zach. He's in his 3rd year. It is on him. They have to be better there. That being said, he is what he is. He's a backup. I'm not going to kill Zach Wilson because he's not the 2nd pick in the draft. He's not that guy. But they have to get better there. Even if you're not viewing Zach Wilson through the lens of where he was picked anymore, which I'm trying not to do. I mean, you have to be better than 0 for 5 in the red zone. And what happened at the end of the first half was, just total malpractice by the entire offense. Mainly the quarterback, though. It's his responsibility. Here we go. Let's go to Alan, who's up next on the Gusbuster Hotline. Alan, what do you got for us?
Evening, Jake. What's going on? A couple of comments. I don't know if you addressed this. What happened to the clock stopping in the last 2.5 minutes when the Jets were driving? And they didn't address it on the TV. It looked like the clock stopped for 25 seconds and it didn't move while the Jets were driving. I don't know if you addressed it or if Robert Saleh addressed it. That was peculiar, and no one mentioned it on TV, first of all.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what that was. My buddy Brian Levy, I'll give him a shout-out, who I was watching the game with. He pointed that out to me right away, and we couldn't figure it out.
That was ridiculous. Another thing, more Quentin Jefferson and less Michael Clemens. Michael Clemens is a menacing player. He's just not a good football player. He's out of position so much during the game. Just give me more Quentin Jefferson, more. Just give him more.
Jefferson's been good, by the way. I'll say that's been a very good signing.
Very good signing. And lastly, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15 in the 4th quarter, that has to be addressed. Yep. I mean, their defense, and this happens a lot with this defense. They are just not getting off the field on 3rd and longs. And it didn't cost them today because Quincy Williams made those plays. But again, they have to continue to play better on 3rd down. It's not going to help when they play teams like the Eagles going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, let's call for what it is. I think every Jet fan was pulling out whatever hair they had on their head after that 3rd and 15 was completed.
Yeah. Have a great night, Jack. And at least one thing about Salah, at least he's not Mario Cristobal. I'll tell you that. That was the worst coaching job I have ever seen last night. If that was my team, I would have killed somebody.
It's funny. Good call, Alan. I actually said this today with Ty Butler. Him and I were on ESPN New York this morning/afternoon. If Brian Daboll or Robert Saleh did what Mario Cristobal, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, did last night, where if you didn't see the game, they could have kneed and won. Instead, he ran a play to the running back who fumbled, and then I don't even remember who Miami was playing, throws a touchdown, and they lose. That head coach, whether it was Saleh, they would have been tarred and feathered by their fans. It was that bad. All right. If we have Alan on and we have a chance to go back-to-back with this guy up next, we're going to do it every time. Rob, the Jet fan. Rob, the floor is yours.
Hey, Jake, let me tell you. Ugly win. I was screaming my brains out. I mean, at least 3 or 4 heart attacks for sure. Thank God I am in good health. But let me tell you, I'm shocked that Allen actually sounded okay today.
I was gonna say there was nothing he said that I think was that egregious. I thought for Allen he was he was pretty positive.
Shout out to Allen. I'm really disturbed with the defense always starting off so bad in the beginning, Jake. I know they have a great defense, and I'm not going to trash the defense because the defense is one of the main reasons we won, other than obviously Brees Hall. But I'm getting tired of them starting so slowly and so poorly. What the heck is going on with that crap? And then I have just a couple other things, but what do you think's going on that they start so poorly that?
I wish I had a better answer. I was watching, driving back the SNY postgame show, and they talked about how the Jets just come out in their same look every week, and then they wait a couple drives before they then adjust. I mean, I would come out next week against the Eagles and a look you haven't played all year. Just give them something different and see if that maybe allows you to play faster or just, I don't know, not trail in the game. I mean, it's brutal.
They can't look like that against the Eagles next week, or they'll get hosed.
Yeah. If they play like they did in the first half against the Eagles, they won't be in position to come back in the second half.
Not against that team. Nope. But just a couple other things I want to get into real quick, Jake. Quincy, shout out to Quincy. Phenomenal. Obviously, Brees. And where we take away from Salah, we got to give to Salah because a lot of people thought he was nuts to bring up Charles in special teams, and look how he played today. He's a big part and reason, again, with Moorhead and Zerline, special teams, reason why we won today. That was huge, huge. So that's coaching, and I was very impressed how Charles played today. What do you think?
Yeah, completely agree. And there was a good nugget during the broadcast. I didn't get to hear a ton of the broadcast. Like I heard, it was loud at the sports bar I was at. But one of the things I heard was that Brant Boyer apparently had been lobbying to Salah for the last couple of weeks to get Herb Charles on the active roster somehow because he brings so much as a gunner. We saw that today. He was fantastic. So that was good to see. It looks like Rob has one more point. Rob, are you giving me the one more point sign? Is that what that was?
Sorry, buddy. Just one last thing. I kind of want to agree with you. I'm going to finish off with this, that today what I saw with Zach Wilson was he proved to me that he's a number 2 quarterback, not a starting quarterback, but I have confidence in him being our number 2 quarterback when Aaron Rodgers gets back, preferably this year, but if not next year, I'm confident him elevating to number 2. That's what he's proven so far. No more than that. I totally agree with you. And that's what I wanted to end off with.
Yeah, good call, Rob. I mean, look, Zach was okay today. And I've said since the beginning of this season when Rodgers went down 4 plays into the year, if he's okay, this team is good enough to win around him. You can get away with how they played today against Denver. You do that against Philly, you're not going to win. But you won. And that's ultimately all that matters. But there's some things they got to build on. And I think the biggest thing they have to do next week to have any chance against Philly is efficiency in the red zone. You kick field goals, you're cooking yourself, man. And you knew it was going to be one of those games when you go 3 and out after the fumble that they had on the punt to begin the game. Randy writes in, Zach played well, stopped talking smack. He managed the game very well, had things to clean up, but he's being solid. Randy, here's what I have to say to you. You, my friend, are not just someone who belongs in the Shadow Realm, but you actually belong in what we are now calling Stupid Town, which is basically named after all the Zach Wilson truthers.
Into the Shadow.
Hold it, Jake. This is too stupid for the Shadow Realm. Let's send this loser to Stupid Town.
Welcome to Stupid Town. Your comments only work here when spoken from my ass.
I don't have the patience for it. Zach played well, stop talking smack. Apparently, being realistic about what we saw from the quarterback is me talking smack. You want me to say he played great? He played like Patrick Mahomes today? Because he didn't. There were some mistakes. There were some plays he would want back. I thought Zach overall was solid. He played well enough for them to win. I'll take this type of game from Zach more times than not. His completion percentage was high. He made some nice throws on 3rd down. But it's not talking smack. It's being realistic. If you were expecting Zach Wilson to play as well as he did against the Chiefs in this game today, I never bought it all week. So I'm just calling it how it is. He did some good things today. There were some things that he has to be better at if this team is going to do anything this year. Do you want to beat the Broncos, or do you want to actually be a playoff team? Because if your answer is you want to be a playoff team, they got to be better than 0 for 5 in the red zone. Period. Being a Jet fan doesn't mean you blindly support the team and you're not allowed to be critical. I think some of you Wilson truthers probably come from Utah and you just want everything to be, sunshine and roses. Enough. Brian's up next on the show. What's up, Brian?
Oh shit! What's going on, Jake?
You need a minute, Brian? You want me to come back to you?
No, we're good. I just gotta say, overall, I love the dub. Anytime you get a dub in the NFL, I'll take it. Like Vin Diesel said in Fast and the Furious, whether you win by an inch or you win by a mile, a win is a win.
Hey, never apologize for a win in the NFL, man. They're hard to get.
I'll take a win however they come. Good game by Zach all around. I don't care if Zach needed to be a game manager today. This was the Breece Hall revenge show. Breece Hall ran ragged all over the Denver Broncos offense. Defense. You can't get no better than that. What a $160, $170 yards and a touchdown, and he ripped off that long run. Why sit here and throw it all over the yard where you could just run it down their throats? Then next week you go into the Eagles come to town. That's when you kind of open up the offensive playbook where Zach is kind of airing it all over the place, and you can do some damage there. But for this game, absolutely, defense played good, offense played okay. We got the dub. Everybody else who's sitting there hating, man, get them out of here.
Hey, a win's a win, Brian. Amen. Yeah, Zach proved he can be a game manager today. There was some thought from members of this fan base. Oh, it's either all or nothing. Either let him throw or he can't do it. No, he was a game manager today. He was Mark Sanchez today. I will take that from Zach Wilson. Woke Hogan writes in, I blindly support the team. Well, that's the problem with you then, Woke. And the problem with people who blindly support the team is you belong in the Shadow Realm. And say hi to Tiki Barber, who just called today's Jets win.
Into the Shadow Realm you go.
Come on with the Jets nonsense. But I honestly think that Daniel Jones is going to have a better season than Aaron Rodgers.
How's Tiki feeling about his Giants after a spectacular performance by Big Blue? Go Giants. Jorge up next on the show. What's up, Jorge?
Hey, man. How was everything?
Oh, man. I mean, I see your caption there. You almost had a stroke. I almost had a heart attack today, so I feel that.
True. Listen, not much to say because I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it. More to talk about the excitement of the game. This was something that just took me from heaven to hell and back, in 20 seconds and 50 seconds. There was so much excitement to it. Yes, I always had the thought in the back of my mind, oh, shit, we're going to blow it or something, because there was this always insecurity of the eternal Jet fan of 50 years like I am, that we say something's going to fucking go wrong here. Sorry for the French, but it was exciting. And that's really all that I can ask for as a fan is that it's exciting. It entertained me. From a technical point of view, yeah, of course we want to have our team play better and we want to have Zach do better and we don't want to make stupid mistakes like at the end of the first half and crap like that. But at the end of the day, we're fans, man.
I want to win, man. Jorge, I want to win. I don't care about being entertained. I was entertained last week and they didn't win, so I just want to win games. That's all I care about.
No. I don't disagree with you. I totally want to win. And this conversation would be different if we hadn't won, right? But the fact that they won for me is almost like, fuck, the bonus. Yes, that's what we wanted to do. We got it. So we reached our goal, albeit in a funky, weird way, as we always do it, and because we're the Jets. But it was so much fun. So I just want to thank you too, man. You just keep on carrying the torch here and keep on accepting us as your listeners. And I love you for that, man. Take care and be well.
You're the best, Jorge. Appreciate your kind words, man. Thank you. Yeah, look, we were entertained today and they won. It was also stressful, but that's been every game this year. The Jets have not played one game this year that was not a game at least going into the fourth quarter. Cowboys game included. Ended up being a blowout, but, it's not like they were getting their doors blown out from the jump. They were down one score at halftime. They had a chance. But between opening night in Buffalo or at MetLife against Buffalo, the Patriot game coming down to the bitter end, the Chiefs game coming down to the bitter end, and today coming down to the bitter end, I mean, it has been stressful. Ryan writes in, the amount of flags the refs hit us with is ridiculous, yet we never get crucial calls in our favor. F the refs, it makes me sick to my stomach. Speaking of the refs, Michael writes in, Becton's a beast. We won in spite of Zachary W. See, we're all about fair and balance on this program. So if I send the Wilson truthers to the Shadow Realm, I'll send the Wilson haters to the Shadow Realm. Because no, Zach made some key plays today. They didn't win in spite of him. So speaking of the refs, say hello to the refs.
Into the Shadow Realm you go.
The green team is called for holding, being offsides, and a bunch of other bad stuff. Red team is good. They never do anything wrong.
All right, what else did I have to do today?
Douglas writes in, there were no negative takeaways from the game, just opportunities for growth and improvement. Hashtag manifesting positive vibes. Douglas with his best Aaron Rodgers impression. Rat Diddy with a super chat. Jets don't leave New Jersey for the next 4 weeks until the Vegas game. Time to go on a run. Excellent point. The Jets benefit from what's called rest differential more than any team in the league this year. We talked about this when the schedule first came out. You have the Broncos trip out of the way. The only trip where the Jets now leave, I think, the Eastern time zone the rest of the year is the Bronco game or the Vegas game, now that this Denver game is in the books. Think about that. It's a pretty big deal. You know, this Philly game is not going to be easy, but you know what? It's not impossible for them to win. But they're going to have to play a lot better in the red zone. We sent them to the Shadow Realm earlier, but we read all super chats. Randy says, Beast Hall of Fame, Quincy Mack Truck. Both were excellent. Dark Knight Steve says, Tiki Barber and Matt Ryan were awful calling the game today. To be honest, I didn't get to hear it like I would if I was watching at home. Like, I heard their calls, but I was at a sports bar. So, I'm not going to comment until I rewatch the game like I always do. Let's get back to your calls now, shall we? Let's see. This one is from Johnny, who always has a unique name. Jets wins, Eagles, happy day. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, what's going on, Jake, man? Hey, heart attack Jets, baby. But, hey, I'll take it. That was a big team win, man, on all parts of it. Special teams, defense, even the offense. I mean, we've said it before. We don't want Zach to be throwing those 39 passes. Be in that happy medium range between 20 and 25. Give our defense the chance to win us the games, right? Brees, I think Brees is going to have a huge, huge year. And I keep saying, man, MVP of the season, dude, has been Morstead. That dude has been a heaven sent, man. He's great, you know, and I hope that we keep it up. I think we could beat the Eagles. We just got to clean up some things. But, I mean, how about Zerline, dude? That dude's huge too, man. I mean, yeah, I'm excited, man. It feels good to win. Hope we keep it going, right? And, I mean, hey, we got a chance, right? It's my daughter. She's over here.
Hey.
Cold.
Yeah, we're by the fire outside in the woods right now, trying to at least.
Celebrating a win?
Hell yeah, dude. I'll take it, man. Jets, Jets. Let's go.
Hey, good call, Johnny. Look, the positive is the offense put up 400 yards today. They just have to clean up the red zone. This should have been a blowout. The problem is they were 0 for 5 in the red zone. So they got to clean that up. But once again, a win is the best thing in the world, man. And this was a must-win today. Jerome's up next on our show. What's up, Jerome?
What's going on, Jake, man? What's going on, man? Couple things, man. As you know, I'm a Packer guy too, man. But I'm kind of taking to the Jets now, man, because it's like y'all give me cardiac arrest just like my Packers. And the thing is, I already have an Aaron Rodgers jersey. Now I'm gonna have to invest in the Brees Hall. That guy was due for one, and I knew he almost broke another one.
You know, I was glad I got to wear this today because last year I got this jersey, and then the next game he got hurt. So it was nice to see him be the Brees Hall of last year today. It was awesome.
And I'm wishing y'all the best for AVT. I hope all is right with him. It was a well-rounded win. Everybody contribute. It was gritty, and sometimes you'll take a gritty win. You'll take a gritty win. A couple things that starting off slow, and that red zone thing, that's an issue. But you know what I'm concerned about more than that? That them 3 and outs, them 3 and longs, them not getting off that field. That's gonna be a problem. But Philly, I think y'all can do it. They can be had. They right for it because they almost gave it away a few times. They should probably be 3-2 right now. And so if y'all clean up some things, y'all could probably get Philly. And then you at home the rest of 3 or 4 games. So yeah, y'all should be trying to go on a run. But other than that, I ain't got much else. That's a gritty win. We'll take it.
Hey, well said, Jerome. We'll definitely take it. All 3 phases had to contribute for them to win. I mean, you don't win this game without Zerline and Morstead. You don't win this game without Brees. Some key passes by Wilson offensively. And defensively, look, the defense forced a bunch of key turnovers in huge spots, including at the very end. I mean, Quincy is just such a dog, man. Just watching back that play. Oh, my God. How nice was it to see a Jet pick up a fumble and run it into the end zone? Oh, my God. How sweet it is. Jacob writes in, with Salah's track record on injuries, I'm more worried about Tippmann than AVT. Yeah, I get your point, but I'm very worried about AVT. Tippmann, they said, would have finished the game, so he's not hurt. It's great. It's great to see this team get a win, though, because ultimately, if they didn't win this game, how could we entertain the idea of them beating the Eagles next week? You couldn't. More of your calls right now on the show. Here we go. Joe the Jet is up next. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Jake. I just want to talk about, very ugly win, but you know what? Like everyone said on this on the calls, a win's a win. But here's what I'm about to say. Look, I think last time I called, I think I mentioned, I really like to see this team start quick against the Broncos. They didn't, but fortunately they finished pretty well and they got the win. But like a team like Philly, you're gonna have to start very quick because throughout this entire year, this team started slow. A team like Philly, you got to start extremely quick. Get on the board first, and if you don't, if we start off the same way that we did this week, Philly's going to stomp all over us, and it's going to get ugly very quick. But I have faith in this team. Brees Hall went out there, had a freaking day. Zach played okay. I mean, nothing to write home about. But
he played like a professional quarterback, which is a step given how poor he was against New England and obviously how it ended last year. Like that's the best I could say about Zach. He looked like Mark Sanchez. He was a professional quarterback who did not lose him the game. He's not why they won, but that's a huge step of improvement for where we were at this time last year.
Definitely. And, it's like I said, it's nothing to write home about. But, man, Quincy Williams, I got to say, that dude needs to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. That dude played absolutely out of his mind this entire game. Heck, even this entire year. The dude's just been flying all over the field. He is a very underrated piece for this defense. And, that's mostly it.
Joe, I appreciate the call, man. I agree. Look, this team is going to have to win a lot of ugly games because they just don't have the quarterback to blow teams out. They don't. But you know what? Team win, man. The Jets' depth was tested. Good comment here by S. Raya. Excellent point. I mean, you needed Billy Turner and Max Mitchell to play a role on this team. You needed Craig James and Bryce Hall to play a role on this team today. You know, a lot of guys to win today. That's a good sign for this roster. You take the win, and you get ready for Philly. Minimum, you're 2-4 into your bye, with winnable games out of the bye against the Giants, the Chargers, and the Raiders. And we'll see you guys in Vegas for that one. Jimmy from Seattle is up next. What's up, Jimmy?
J-E-T-S. Let's go. See, look, man. Look. We take our Hennessy for the Dubs.
Amen.
For you, my dog. Hey, man.
Respect.
look, it goes like this, right? Hackett really needs to put a realistic game plan together of having Zach Wilson come up with that 2-minute offense for the entirety of the game. The way that he plays the game with, the clock winding down with 2 minutes and he has to hurry up, get back to the line. The dude looks like he knows what the hell he's doing because he makes that 1 read, 2 read, get the ball out, gone. If we do that, like Coach Hollis said, man, we'll be in a whole bunch of games. Quincy Williams, hands down, all pro linebacker this year. Hands down, absolutely. I was scared as hell to have Bryce Hall in the game because all this dude does is hold and every time that he gets beat. But, hey, he came up with the clutch fumble recovery. The way that everybody's been talking throughout the entire show, we've all been saying that the way that the Jets defense comes out is lackluster. We're always playing in that cover 4, so we get killed by screens. I would like to see us play a little bit more man to versus the Eagles. I think that'll throw them off just a little bit. But the cover 4 might actually work because they'll try to kill us over the top with AJ Brown and the whole gang over there. But like we really need to watch out for those quarterback runs because man, we've been getting killed all year with that crap, and it's been irritating my soul, brother. But other than that, how are you doing, Jake?
Man, I'm hanging in. I'm just glad they won. It was a huge win. It to me, it's more of a sign of relief that they won than like, yeah, we beat the Broncos, but like they had to win this game, and they did. You don't apologize for it. You take this win, and you move on to the next. And you give yourself a chance to compete against the Eagles next week.
I know, man. I'm just so tired of wearing my life alert during the game because I'm so scared I might have a stroke or a heart attack, and then somebody gonna have to come and get me and all that. But
yeah, dude, my Apple Watch went off that the heart rate was like at 140 during it. Like, that's ridiculous.
You need to calm down, get away from the TV because you might break your TV and die.
Right, Jimmy, great call, man. It's tough, man. Like honestly, like these games are not good for my health. Like that might be sad, but I'm just being honest with y'all. Like look at this environment. Like these are the people I watch these games with. Like it is intense. You know what I'm saying? It's just. And I always apologize for whatever I say to the people around me. Like I don't even. I'm just unhinged during these games. Like football. Being a Jet fan is not fun. It's fun if they win. Like the stress during the game, if you're a diehard, is not fun. I think there's a misconception. KJ in Colorado is up next. What's up, KJ?
Hey, what's up? I'm a little disappointed that I sold my tickets after the Dallas game in Colorado here. But
oh, man, I figured you were calling in late because you just got back from the game.
No, I went the last 2 years, and after Rodgers went down, I was just broken. But one thing I want to point out when in the first half, when Brees would get going and then they'd take him out because, he needs a rest or whatever, Dalvin Cook would come in, and they would usually pass it. So I have to think that the coaches are on what we've all been talking about in that, they don't trust him, and this was his last game to go. But they can't play it that way because it's too much of a tell that he comes in and then they're going to pass because they don't trust him. But I think it's time to start splitting the carries between Brees and Michael Carter. So
I'd like to see Izzy Abanikanda activated. I think that's coming soon.
Yeah, it's the 3, but Michael Carter needs to be more than just the third down running back. And also, I got to say, on the interception, the fact that wasn't called for holding or anything, but the soft call last week. Come on, we need some consistency with these calls.
They don't exist in the NFL. There is no
not for the
consistency.
Jets.
No,
especially not for the Jets.
Of course not. I didn't even think of that last week because I just assumed the Jets will never get a call. It's like they always got to win in spite of the referees every time.
I mean, it's on Zach, but at the same time, he impeded his ability to catch the ball. So, yeah, but that's all I got.
Good call, KJ. Next time, don't sell your tickets. No, just busting balls. I don't blame you. I get it. Oh, man. Tough. But they got to win. Isn't that all that matters? Doesn't matter how you do it. Just find a way to win. And to the Jets' credit, they got it done. I have here some video of Sean Payton postgame. I have not heard this yet, but let's hear what Mr. Payton had to say after Nate Hackett and the Jets kicked his team's butt and essentially ended their season as the Broncos will play the Chiefs 2 of the next 3 games. So they're cooked.
there obviously was a lot of focus on this game. Your USA Today comments regarding Hackett. How do you look at that as a chapter in your coaching career where some people might say Hackett got revenge today?
Yeah, listen, they played better than us, and I credit, Robert and that staff. They won the game, and I think that's how I look at it.
Coach, do you regret, though, those comments, making those comments as
I already addressed that, though, and it's a fair question, but I think we already addressed that the next day. All right, thank you, guys.
Wow. That's how the press conference ended? Oh, that was great. Man, you know what I need? I need some Sean Payton tears in a jar so I could slurp those down. Oh, that was fantastic. That was great. Love that. That was how the press conference ended. Oh, that made my night. That was great. Love that. Dimitri with a super chat. Difference between Wilson is 72% versus 52%. Are you saying the difference between Zach this year versus last year? I would agree that it has been noticeable that he has made easy throws, which is why his completion percentage has gone up. He is not bailing out of clean pockets. His footwork is a lot better, you could tell. He's been better. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in this league long term. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback in this league long term, at least not yet. But the arrow is pointed up, which is a good sign. He was not playable by the end of last year. You at least have a quarterback that is playable right now. You can win games with. How they won today, they can win games with against the Giants, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Falcons, the Texans. The schedule after this Eagles game softens. They do have a win against the Bills. They play Allen incredibly well. I think they match up with the Dolphins well, too. I don't think those are just two losses. They will have a meaningful season. But the way to at least entertain this conversation for me to give this opinion and not be laughed at is they had to win tonight. So, yes, there are some ugly things they got to fix, but they won. And if you're a Jet fan and you're not enjoying the fact they won, I question your fandom. Devin is up next on our show, or is it Devon? We'll find out right now. What's up, man? We got you on mute. Unmute yourself.
Oh, what's up, Jay? Can you hear me now?
We hear you. How do you say your name?
Devin.
Devin?
Devin.
There we go.
Yeah. Jake, first and foremost, my brother, man, I'm so proud of you. The work that you're doing is amazing, bro. You get me through the losses, man. So I really appreciate you. I want to say, I'm a huge Knicks fan. Talk about another, you know what I mean? Like, I'm 51, bro. So I've been around for a minute. That the Knicks is the only basketball team I've ever loved in my life. And I love my Jets as well. But, so it's been a ride. But I just wanted to say, man, I get frustrated with our use on offense. Like, why we don't have a better player better than Brees? Why is he not in in 2 minutes? Inside that last 2 minutes drill that we were going down in the first half, I'm like, where's Brees? I'm tired of Dalvin. Dalvin's got to go, bro. And I'm wearing this. I'm not a Jack the Truther. I had this jersey. I almost burnt it last week, 2 weeks ago. I almost burnt it. I promise you. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to be positive. And then, no, it was 2 weeks ago because then Kansas City happened. So I was like, I'm going to be positive. So first half, I just had it on the side and I was rocking my man. I'm kind of concerned about Quinn. I'm having hurt. It's like him and his brother did a reverse this year. It's like
he was good today. He had a sack.
He was good.
He made a bunch of plays. He was very good.
You're right. I just hold him to a higher standard. Like I want him to see like that Hard Knocks where you get that 9 sacks in a game. That would be dope. That would be so dope. But I appreciate you, brother. And I just wanted to come on and say, even though I am not a Zach Truther and I was gonna burn this damn thing 2 weeks ago because he got on my damn nerves. But I'm a Jet fan first. You know what I mean? So it's JETS, Jets. And if I help with the rally this afternoon, bring it. I'm gonna wear this damn jersey every time because I need a winner so I can get my man A-Rod back and I can rock that jersey all day because that's lovely.
Hey, David, great call,
man.
Brother. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words as well. Yeah, look, he's the quarterback, right? You should root for Zach Wilson. I know I am. I have the Zach Wilson jersey back in the closet. It was in the junk area of the closet for a while, where my Le'Veon jersey was, the Sam Darnold jersey, the Jamal. That's where Zach was. He's now no longer in that part of the closet. He's now on the rack with all the other jerseys. So I'm with you. My issue is it's like you're not allowed to ever criticize Zach Wilson because he had one good game last week. Like, no. If you want a homer show, this is not the one for you. We talk good or bad about the Jets. Believe me, I am a Jet fan. I am rooting for Zach Wilson. But I'm not going to sit here and say he was amazing today. He was fine. He was okay. He played a Mark Sanchez level game, which I will gladly take most games. They can win with that. Brees went nuts today. Defense made key stops when the game mattered. That's how they win. They won a lot of games that way in 09 and 10. And this defense, I think, is more talented than that defense. Now, that defense was smarter, though. This defense has got to tighten up and start faster, all that. Still a lot to be proven there, but they won, man. It's a good day. They won. Dre's up next on our show. What's up, Dre?
My guy, Jake. How are we doing today? I'm feeling fantastic. I got to tell you, this is Jet fandom is not for the weak. It really is not.
No.
Because this team will take you to every edge, the edge of your emotion, the edge of anger, the edge of despair, the edge of madness, all of that. Always right up to the edge. And then they bring you back. So all I can say is this win has left me completely confused. Like, at this point, I want to say it's the coaching, but it's not the coaching. But I think that the coaching puts the plan in the beginning of the game. You have your scripted plays, and the defense always starts slow. The offense always starts slow. So that's like, okay, during the week coaching, something needs to change there. Because in game, then the coaches look, oh, okay, they're doing this. We're going to do this. I don't think there's a team, especially on defense with Brick, I don't think there's a coordinator that adjusts the way that Brick does. It's always a tale of two halves. The defense in the second half is always championship caliber. This is Super Bowl caliber defense. But in the beginning, when they had the lead, they had 3-0. So yeah, now is the time for 3 and out, and you walk them all the way over there. Like, they drive me insane. But a win is a win. It's hard to win. We got the win. I love the press conference at the end. Please play that again so I can see him cry, because that brings joy to my soul. And I'm not the kind of person that enjoys other people suffering, but when you come from my team, that's what you get.
Yeah, I mean, like I up until a good call, Dre. I love it, man. Love the Ninja Turtle shirt too. Up until this summer, I had no reason to dislike Sean Payton. I thought he was a good coach. He won a Super Bowl. I actually interviewed Sean Payton on my, at the time, SB Nation radio show. He could not have been nicer. So I actually, I had no reason to dislike Sean Payton. But what he said was stupid, and he's got to take the ridicule that's coming his way. I mean, the Jets' in-house Twitter account posted this. I mean, that's just funny, man. I mean, his answer after the game to the media and how the press conference ended that we just played was hysterical. Keep rolling with the calls right now. David's up next on the show. What's up, David?
Jake, gotta call again. Can we stop playing in Denver? AVT hurt now?
I know. Wait, you called in earlier?
Yeah, before.
You did? Okay. At this point, you're already back on. What do you got?
I mean, come on. We can't. And Mackay got hurt twice, came back twice. We gotta mention that.
I know. Well, David, if you don't want to play in Denver, the Jets could do this thing called not coming last in their own division, because then you leave it up for chance. Now, you happen to play the AFC West this year, but the last couple of years you played Denver because you finished last in the division. That's how it works. Keanu up next on the show, and he's rocking the bucket hat because we know Sean Payton is a huge fan of his players wearing bucket hats, right?
I am touting the hell out of Sean Payton right now because that was an emotional win, and we have 2 of those so far this year, and we are not used to seeing the Jets win games like that.
Yeah, look, I mean, how often have we seen the Jets lose that exact type of game? So the fact that they won that game, you don't apologize for that. You take the win, you make the improvements, and you go compete against the Eagles, you move on.
The fact they won the game and the way they won it, I don't remember the last time we had a running back go for 170-plus yards. It was awesome to watch. And you called it all week, man. You were like, Brees Hall game. I've been saying it the last 3 weeks, but here we got it. And first of all, I'm starting the narrative. Quincy Williams is a Pro Bowler. Now
He's an All-Pro. Think
All-Pro.
bigger, man. He's played like one of the 3-4 best linebackers in the league at his position this year.
Right. It's sad that, calling someone a Pro Bowler doesn't have much meaning to it anymore. That, anyone gets in the Pro Bowl, it doesn't really matter at this point. But not only him, but everyone wants to hate on Lakin.
We lost Keanu there. Yeah, Lakin, I thought, played pretty well today from what I saw. I got to go back and watch. It felt like the line was significantly better in the second half than the first half. First half, Zach was running for his life. It felt like the Broncos had the snap count early in this game. I mean, they were just getting some untimed rushes. They adjusted. I don't know if this is true or not, but KJ says they won't be back in Denver until at least 2027 after this year. I hope that's true. I'm sick of the Jets going to Denver every year. Can the Jets come to Houston? I've lived in Houston for 5 years. The Jets have come once. Come on. Now I'm finally leaving Houston and going back to New York, and I'm sure the Jets will play in Houston next year. Watch. Steve Asman's watching the show, and my dad is in China. So, I mean, what time? I guess it's already 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. There are some broken walls, tables, and lockers after that press conference. Matt O'Leary goes, "You're still on, ? Oh, my God, legend." Matt, join me, man. I want the Matt O'Leary thoughts on this win. I will continue the show if the great Matt O'Leary NY joins us on the program. We need some O'Leary. By the way, I will plug tomorrow's guest. You guys know the deal if you watch this show regularly. Will Parkinson, 10 a.m. Eastern, on the show in his weekly spot. And O'Leary's coming on. There we go. So we will keep the post-game show rolling here because we'll bring Matt on, who is pound for pound one of the best NFL content creators on the planet, let alone just the Jets. Dean writes in, "Something to consider. Lamar Jackson cost the Ravens a win today. Be glad we didn't sign him." This comment, just, Dean. Really?
Into the shadow realm you go.
They haven't won anything in 100 years. Saleh's defense, the 2 years that he's been here with the Jets, they haven't done anything. The Jets have spent all summer telling us how great they're going to be. The Jets are going to make me hate them.
We're judging Lamar Jackson off a bad game. And he also wasn't available. JR Jet with a super chat. "I hope we ain't lose AVT in the same stadium, very same team as last year. Praying for him. Shout out to Mackay. Playing hurt as well. Tip Quincy Eagles Defensive Player of the Year." Yeah, look, I'm 100% with you as far as what happened with AVT. It's cruel, man. You hope that it's obviously not a season ender. Doesn't sound good, but we'll see. I bet you we get some sort of update tomorrow. And then obviously, I think Joe Tippmann deserves an enormous amount of credit. He is playing a position that he was not expected to play at this year, and he's played it at a very high level. And I'll say this about Quincy. He keeps playing like this, the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. There's some validity to it. Seriously, that's how good he's been. He's been their best defensive player this year. It hasn't been Sauce. It hasn't been Quinnen. It's been Quincy. And that's not saying those guys haven't been great. They have. But it just puts in perspective how good Quincy has been. I mean, he won them a game today. He took over the game late. And Saleh used the term game wrecker. That's what he was. Joining us right now is one of the all-time greats. A fellow Long Islander. A fellow redhead. And a fellow diehard fan of the New York Jets. Matt O'Leary joins the show. What's up, Matt?
Oh, I love that intro, Jake. Thank you for still being on. This is nuts. So I did my post-game video that was uploaded. I recorded my Islanders podcast. So if you're an Islanders fan, listen to Up the Turnpike. You can follow us on social media. And then I went and was like, let me see on YouTube, see how we're doing. And Jake's still on. I'm like, oh my God, let me check in on Jake.
My man. Dude, you did two shows. You did an Islander show after a Jet win tonight. I love the commitment.
Yeah, I did. Another 45 minutes, just uploaded that season preview. But yeah, some win today. It was wild, ugly at times, but I will take it.
Did you think they were going to lose after Russell Wilson and the Broncos converted on the 3rd and 15 at the end there?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I was in a not very good spot at that point. I got after the Wilson interception, and then they start moving the ball down the field. I'm like, this is going to kill me. This is going to actually break me, I think.
Couple questions for you. We'll kind of go through some of the big takeaways. Zach Wilson, thoughts on his performance?
thought it was okay. I thought there was some good. I thought there was some not so great. We'll start with the positive. I love the third down throw to Tyler Conklin. I thought that was really nice. Completion percentage is much higher. Was willing to take the check down. I like the throw to Garrett Wilson. There were some good moments from Zach Wilson. On the not so good, the fumbles, a little bit of a problem. For some reason that pops in. On the interception, that's a ball that I think would have been better suited at thrown as a back shoulder throw. I think he was, I don't know, he was put in a bad spot. It was a 50-50 ball, so I'm not going to totally kill him on it, but I thought he was okay, like a C grade, something like that.
See, that actually surprises. Well, you know what? If you grade Zach Wilson as did he play good relative to really good quarterbacks? That's fair. I'm at a point where I'm just grading him on the Wilson curve. To me, he was Mark Sanchez today. This was a Sanchez level game where he made enough plays. There weren't the back-breaking turnovers. I know the pick at the end was kind of crazy, but for the most part, with the running game and the defense, if Zach plays around this level in a lot of games, maybe not the Eagles next week, but against the Giants, the Falcons, the Chargers, the Texans, some of these crappy teams they have on their schedule, that should be good enough to win a lot of games with.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And, specifically over the last two, seeing the completion percentage up over 70% is a really nice improvement. This is someone who's usually completing around 50% of his passes. And I thought he was accurate. I didn't really, I don't know, I'm sure you got into this, but I didn't really like the play calling today from Nathaniel Hackett. I thought he was a little too conservative, especially in the red zone or the gold zone, as he calls it. But for Zach, yeah, I mean, we've seen significantly worse from Zach Wilson. So overall, pretty okay performance.
Did you hear Sean Payton's answer about Nathaniel Hackett after the game?
No, I would love to hear.
Oh, all right. We just played it. I want your instant reaction to this sequence at the end of Sean Payton's press conference.
There obviously was a lot of focus on this game. Your USA Today comments regarding Hackett. How do you look at that as a chapter in your coaching career where some people might say Hackett got revenge today?
Yeah, listen, they played better than us, and I credit Robert and that staff. They won the game, and I think that's how I look at it.
Coach, do you regret those comments, making those comments?
I already addressed that though, and it's a fair question, but I think we already addressed that the next day. All right, thank you guys.
I mean, that was so good.
Yeah, I hope I know he didn't, but I hope that Robert Saleh, if he just said, hey, your guys played hard today, that would have been the really nice FU to Sean Payton. The thing that Saleh said that he hates to hear during Hard Knocks, he doesn't want to hear that his guys played hard. He'd be like, hey, Sean Payton, your guys played hard today. That was nice.
Tremendous. Thoughts on the play of Quincy Williams and the fact that he very well might be their best defensive player right now?
Yeah, he's a stud. Absolutely unbelievable. The growth we've seen from him has been truly, truly tremendous. This is someone who they got on the scrap heap as a waivers claim. There were some issues with his game the first couple of years here, missed tackles, over pursuing at times. But as you said, he might be their best defensive player right now, which is saying something with Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, CJ Mosley. You go right down the line of the list of really good players on this team. And all pro linebacker is not hyperbole. He very well could be an all pro with how well he's playing so far.
What can they do to fix the red zone issues? Because 0 for 5 in the red zone today, that doesn't even include the debacle at the end of the first half, which just can't happen. I put that on Zach Wilson, just not knowing the situation. But what can they do? Because if they don't clean it up, they're not going to be able to beat the Eagles next week.
No. How about stop running on second and long from the 8? They did that 3 times today, and you gain 2 yards, and you're setting yourself up for 3rd and goal from the 7. Just they need to be a little bit more aggressive and throw into the end zone. And maybe some of that's a confidence issue with Zach, or they're not fully confident in Zach Wilson ripping it into the end zone from that point. But I think you got to open it up a little bit more, because I think that Nathaniel Hackett got a little too cute in the red zone. It was just trying to run it, and I get it. Breece Hall was great today; he was absolutely fantastic. But the runs on 2nd and 10 really get to me.
There was a guy who super chatted earlier. The Jets, they ran too much today. They need to let Zach rip. And I'm like, they ran for how many yards on the ground? You could critique the play calling in the red zone, saying maybe they should pass a little more. But no, they need to be built giving the ball to Breece Hall 15 to 20 times every game, because anytime he touches the ball, there's a chance he might score.
Yeah, no, totally. And, I think it's just a matter of once you get down, inside the 20, it's a lot easier, I think, anyway, to defend against the run. Once you're, at that point in the field, you could load the box up and there's not as much, room to get into space. But yeah, I'm totally with you. Brees Hall, they finally ramp him up and he popped off the 72-yard run and was spectacular today.
Concern level with AVT. What do you think they do on the line if he's out?
Nervous. He was a stud at right tackle. I don't know if I'm ready for a full season of Max Mitchell at right tackle. Billy Turner having to come in and play was giving me flashbacks to the preseason and training camp. I didn't necessarily love that.
He actually was not terrible from what I saw, but I'd be very concerned if something actually happened to Mackay.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't think you can go through the rest of your season like that, but I'm hoping for health. Robert Saleh didn't seem crazy confident in the post game, and maybe that's a good thing with his track record because Saleh, I don't think, has ever gotten an injury diagnosis correct in his career as a head coach. But yeah, they might have to get creative at right tackle if AVT's missing some significant time.
Thoughts real quick, because I know this will spark some conversation during the week. Hardman inactive, Lawson inactive.
Lawson completely okay with. I don't think he's given you really a whole lot at all. And we saw like what Bryce Huff did with his extra snaps and playing time this week. He was awesome today. Jermaine Johnson was great. And, you get Will McDonald on the field more. Lawson, I think, is kind of just he didn't look right all season. And for Mecole Hardman, like I get it, like Xavier Gibson, they want to get him on the field and get him his reps. But why'd you pay him in free agency and bring him in on the 1-year deal if you're not going to use the guy? I really don't get it. Besides garbage time in Dallas, they haven't used him at all. That is really, really bizarre. I don't get it.
It is shocking to me that, you don't have Hardman active and then you don't have one design play with Gibson today. Like, I feel like if Gibson has leapfrogged him on the depth chart, there should be 2 plays every game where it's, an end around, a reverse, something to get the ball in Gibson's hands. 'Cause especially today when they were running the ball as well as they did, I feel like you get Gibson in space. This Broncos defense always misses tackles. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, you would think, right? Like they did that against Kansas City with Gibson. They ran him twice, and I think threw him a screen pass as well. So 3 touches. No one's asking him for 7 targets a game or anything like that. But there's no reason you can't get the guys who are, have good speed and are good with the ball in their hand. Like get them the ball in space a couple times a game and let them see what they can do. Very, very strange. I don't like that one at all.
Did I miss any other big Matt O'Leary take that you would like to share before we wrap up here?
I don't think so. I guess really the only thing, like, why does the defense start so slow? Is my question. Because in the second half, they allowed 0 yards for like the first, the third quarter and halfway through the fourth quarter. They were absolutely stellar defensively, but again, a slow start defensively. I don't know what it's about.
It is bizarre. It is bizarre, and it's one of those things where it's like, they actually gave up a second half touchdown for the first time, but they set an NFL record going back to 2000 for 7 games in a row coming into today, not allowing a touchdown in the second half. And look, the defense closed it out. They forced turnovers. That's what the great defenses do in this league, and they got it done. But they have to figure out why they can't start faster because it will cost them against the better teams like Philly next week.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. You can't dig yourself a hole against a team that's as good as what Philadelphia is. And again, it was ugly today, but they needed to win really bad, and I will absolutely take it.
What do you think our guy Green Bean is thinking right now?
I have no idea what I hope he's having a good time. When I checked in with him at the half, so because I always hop on his stream at halftime and give his report and give our report, he was not in a good headspace.
No.
He was really upset with Zach Wilson at the end of the first half, and hard to blame him because that's almost unfathomable that they couldn't get the snap off to spike the ball when Uzomah. He went down with 10 seconds. He had 10 seconds to spike the ball.
He was the only one that had situational awareness to run back to the line and get ready for the spike. Everyone was. I'm convinced they thought they had a timeout. Like, it was insane how they acted.
Just very bizarre. So yeah, Green Bean was upset about that. I haven't really spoken to him since. But confirmed Green Bean is out of YouTube jail, so there will be more content.
He's back?
He's back. He's back on his personal channel. So more Green Bean content, I assume, coming forward.
That's big time. Big time. Glad to hear that. Matt, I appreciate you hopping on, man. Thanks for being a viewer in the first place, and then appreciate you popping on.
Anytime, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Matt O'Leary, NY. If you're a Jet fan, subscribe to his channel. He does a good job covering the Jets, and we appreciate him joining. Thomas wants to know, when does the Patreon list get updated? We update it once a month. Next week, we update it about mid-month, so I should say next week, the Patreon list will be updated. So, if you are a Patreon subscriber that has not had your name in the countdown clock, that will be updated next week. Also, if you want to join the Patreon and gain access to the Discord, bonus shows, get the show as a podcast on Apple or Spotify, ton of tremendous things behind the scenes, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. We're going to wrap up our show. We've been live for just over 2 hours. I want to thank all the callers. Could not do it without you. I want to thank everyone who sent in a super chat. Your support means the world. Can't thank all of you enough for tuning in. Jets get a win, which is by far and away the biggest takeaway from today. There are things they need to clean up, but there were some really good things today. Defense clamping the game down. Breece Hall going nuts. Zach Wilson looking like a competent quarterback for the second game in a row for most of this game today. I'll focus on that. A lot of good. And now we're on to the Eagles. Can the Jets finally beat the Eagles for the first time in their history? I guess we're going to find out 1 week from today. Thanks again for watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Reminder, Will Parkinson joins us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in his weekly spot. That's going to do it for me. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in. JETS, 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 Jets. And one more time, let's watch Sean Payton squirm being asked about Nathaniel Hackett. Have a good night, everybody.
There obviously was a lot of focus on this game. Your USA Today comments regarding Hackett. How do you look at that as a chapter in your coaching career where some people might say Hackett got revenge today?
Yeah, listen, they played better than us, and I credit, Robert and that staff. They won the game, and I think that's how I look at it.
Coach, do you regret, though, those comments, making those comments?
I already addressed that, though, and it's a fair question, but I think we already addressed that the next day. All right, thank you, guys.
Look, guys, I don't know how else to say this. Fact of the matter is the team has almost no chance to win this week unless you click on the like button. Also, be sure you're subscribed to the Jake Asman Show. Let's do this. Go Jets!